Chapter 6. You can become what you desire to be. While the subconscious is being impressed, no thought whatever should be given to limitation, and no comparison should be made with other persons or previous attainments. To think that you wish to do better today than you did yesterday is to give the subconscious two unrelated ideas upon which to act. The idea of the lesser achievement of the past and the idea of the greater achievement of the future. The subconscious will try to reproduce them both, but as they are antagonistic, they will neutralize each other, and there will be no result. The greater and the lesser cannot be produced by the same force at the same time. To impress a desire that you may become greater than anyone else will also present to the subconscious two conflicting ideas, and the result again will be neutralized. The course to pursue is to forget the lesser achievements of yesterday. Think only of the greater achievements that you wish to promote today. Then direct the subconscious to do today what you wish to have done today. This will cause the great within to give all its power and attention to the one great idea, the greater achievement of the day, and the greater achievement will possibly follow. Know what you desire to become. Resolve to become what you desire to become. Whether others have reached those heights or not, forget the lesser heights that others have reached, and give your whole mind and soul to the greater heights that you have resolved to reach. You can become that you desire to become. The great within is limitless, and can give you all the wisdom and all the power that you may require. Knowing this, direct the great within to bring forth what you may need to reach your lofty goal, and the same will be done. The subconscious never fails to do what it is properly directed to do. While impressing the subconscious, think of the perfect in regard to quality, and the limitless in regard to quantity. Never specify any exact amount, nor any special degree. Always desire the limitless and the perfect. Desire nothing less, and animate consciousness with a strong desire to expand constantly during the process, so that the highest quality and the greatest quantity possible may be realized. Desire the fullest possible expression in the great eternal now. Realize that your own inherent powers and capabilities are limitless, and impress that idea upon the subconscious. Give no thought whatever to the lesser attainments in your own life or in the lives of others, but keep your mental eye single upon what you wish to become, knowing that you can become what you wish to become, because there are no limitations in the great within. When the subconscious begins to respond, a distinct sensation is frequently felt of some interior power working through you. This means that greater power from within is being awakened, and the outer mind should give full right of way, so that a complete expression may be secured. That is, the conscious mind should become quiet, serene, and thoroughly receptive, and should forget the personal self for the time. When the personal self is forgotten and the greater interior self is given full possession of both the mentality and the personality, it is then that one's greatest work is done. It is then that the real ability, real talent, and real genius can appear in tangible life and action. When the musician forgets herself, there is something in her music that awakens the very depths of the soul, and you are lifted to a far world that you ever knew before. When the artist forgets himself, his pictures are given immortal life, and every touch reveals a universe of indescribable beauty. When the orator forgets himself, he speaks as one having authority, and you inwardly feel that every word is true. When the practical man of affair forgets himself, he is given a power that is irresistible, and the obstacles that are encountered in the way disappear as they never had the slightest existence. It is such people that do great things in the world. It is such people who live in the human heart after ages have passed away, and their secret is this: the greatness within them was awakened, and was permitted to give full expression its rare and superior power. When you feel this higher power mysteriously moving within the greater depths of the mind and soul, you know what is taking place. Be calm, and give the superior self the right of way. At first this power may feel as if it were distinct from yourself, but it is not. It is your own superior power, the coming forth of your own limitless power, the very power that you have for some time been directing the subconscious to produce. And when you feel that it is your own, it is placed in your full conscious possession, and will do whatever you may desire or direct. To inwardly feel that the entire within is your own is extremely important, because the more completely the conscious mind is united with the power of the subconscious, the more perfectly can the conscious mind impress the subconscious, and the more thoroughly can the greater power of the subconscious express itself in external, tangible action. When you are about to do something that demands the best that is within you, impress the subconscious for higher power. Then wait a few moments for this power to appear, and when it does appear, let the outer self obey. The great within has come forth to do your work, and no power in existence can do it better. To enter into full conscious possession of the higher power from within, and to give full right of way to this power, is to give your objective talents and faculties the greatest power and the best power at your command. Chapter 7. Developing the Genius Within. To impress the subconscious for more power, it is necessary to give to that impression all the power that mind is conscious of now. In other words, the seed that is already at hand should be placed in rich soil. The power that is now active in the conscious mind should be caused to act upon the subconscious. There will be increase, and by re-impressing the added power upon the subconscious every time added power is gained, this increase will become perpetual. To proceed, concentrate attention upon the subconscious side of the entire personality, and desire gently, with deep feeling, to draw all the present active energies of the system into the subconscious. The more energy that is drawn into the subconscious during this process, the more power will be impressed upon the subconscious. And the more power that is impressed upon the subconscious, the more power will be expressed from the subconscious. The law is that whatever power is impressed upon the subconscious will return to the outer personality with added power, just as every seed sown in rich soil will reproduce itself 10, 20, 60, and even 100-fold. Therefore, to daily arouse all the power that we personally possess, and to impress all of that power upon the subconscious, is to increase perpetually the quantity of personal power, and the quality of that power can be steadily improved by transmuting and refining all the present forces of the system before they are impressed upon the subconscious. Before the conscious mind begins to act upon the subconscious, all thought and all feeling should be elevated into the highest states of quality, worth, and superiority that can possibly be realized. This will cause the impression to be superior, and a superior impression will produce a superior expression. That which is common, ordinary, or inferior should never be held in mind, nor deeply felt for a moment, because to feel the ordinary is to impress the ordinary upon the subconscious. It is sowing inferior seed, and the harvest will be cheap, common, and worthless. No person should ever think of himself as inferior or permit himself to recognize the imperfect in his nature. To recognize or feel the imperfect is to sow more seeds of imperfection and reap another harvest that is not worthwhile. There is a superior nature within man. This nature alone should be recognized and felt. Only those thoughts and ideas that are formed in the exact likeness of the superior should be impressed upon the subconscious, and the subconscious will respond by giving superiority to the entire mentality and the entire personality. The average person fails to improve because he lives mainly in the consciousness of his imperfections. He feels that he is ordinary and constantly impresses the subconscious with his feeling of the ordinary. The subconscious naturally responds by producing the ordinary, both in mind and body. That person, however, who lives in the ideal, who thinks constantly of the greater worth that is within him, and who tries to feel and realize his superior nature, will give quality to every impression that may enter the subconscious, and according to the law of action and reaction, will steadily develop greater quality and worth throughout his entire nature. The quality of the impression that is given to the subconscious always corresponds with the degree of quality of which we are conscious at the tune the impression is made. To refine, elevate, and enrich all thoughts and feeling before the conscious mind begins to act upon the subconscious is therefore of the highest importance. The more quality that is given to the power that is being developed, the greater the results that may be secured through the application of that power. It is quality and quantity combined that produces greatness, and greatness, greater and greater greatness, is the purpose we all have in view. To constantly feel the greatness of the great within is to constantly impress upon the subconscious the idea of greatness. This will cause the subconscious to develop greatness and express greatness through every part of the personal man. As greatness develops, the feeling of greatness will become deeper, stronger, and more intense. This will cause larger and finer ideas of greatness to be impressed upon the subconscious, and the result of these later impressions will be larger and greater expressions. A larger measure of greatness will be developed perpetually through the law of much gathering more, or to him that hath shall be given. All development comes from the subconscious, and since the possibilities of the great within are limitless, anyone can, through the proper direction of the subconscious, develop remarkable ability, extraordinary talent, and rare genius. All genius is the result of a larger subconscious mentality. Therefore, anyone can become a genius by awakening a larger and larger measure of the great within. That a genius is asleep in the subconscious of every mind is literally true, but to awaken this genius is not the only essential. The conscious mind must be cultivated scientifically, so that the superior ability from within may find free and full expression. The conscious mind should be cultivated, the subconscious should be developed. The conscious mind should be trained to do things, while the subconscious should be directed to give more and more power for the doing of greater and greater things. The subconscious has the capacity to produce genius in any mind, the greatest genius imaginable, but the conscious mind must be highly cultivated so as to become a fit instrument through which great genius may find expression for its superior work. When quality and worth are received from the subconscious, the conscious mind should use those things in practical action, so that the outer elements and forces of mind may be trained to appreciate quality and appropriate worth in all their tangible expressions. The conscious and the subconscious sides of mind should be placed in the most perfect harmonious relation, so that every impression of the conscious mind may enter deeply into the subconscious, and every expression from the subconscious may work through the conscious mind, without any restrictions or interference whatever. The entire mind develops through the attainment of deeper and higher states of consciousness of the great within, and as this interior realm is boundless, there is no end to the possibilities of mental development. To gain this ulterior consciousness, objective consciousness should be constantly deepened toward the unfathomable within, and this is accomplished by training all the mental tendencies to move toward the within. The mental tendencies will move toward those states of being to which we give the greatest amount of attention. Thereby, by constantly thinking with deep feeling of the great within, all the mental tendencies will move toward and into the great within, and will carry into the subconscious every idea, thought, or desire that the conscious mind may wish to realize and fulfill. When all the mental tendencies move into the subconscious, and all thought is given feeling, worth, and quality, the subconscious will constantly be impressed with superior ideas, which means a constant expression of superior life, superior ability, and superior power. The more deeply the tendencies of mind enter the subconscious, the more of the great within will be awakened, and whatever is awakened in the within will invariably come forth into the personal man. It is therefore evident that when we cease to live on the surface of personal life, we shall constantly improve that surface. By mentally living in the within, we shall strengthen, enrich, and perfect the without. That is, we improve external effects by going more deeply into the subconscious and increasing the quality and the power of internal causes. The person who actually enters into the deeper life to live will not ignore the body. Those who simply dream of inner states of life may neglect the body, but those who thoroughly develop the greater inner life will become able to give the body the best that can be secured, and they will enjoy physical existence infinitely more than those who simply live on the surface. It is the truth that whatever we awaken and develop in the great within will invariably come forth into tangible, personal expression. Chapter 8. You may become what you wish to be. Each person is no more and no less than what has been given to him by his subconscious mind, and as the subconscious is prepared to give as much as anyone may desire, the statement that we all may become whatever we may wish to become is therefore absolutely true. But what the subconscious is to give to any person depends largely upon the movement of his mental tendencies. All the creative energies of the system follow the tendencies of the mind. Therefore, when all the mental tendencies move toward the subconscious, all the surplus energy that is generated in the system will enter the subconscious, and the more energy that enters the subconscious, the more of the subconscious will be awakened and developed. The larger the field that is placed under cultivation, the greater the harvest. Every mental tendency that is trained to enter the subconscious will cause a corresponding tendency to be permanently expressed. Therefore, by causing all the worthy tendencies to move toward the subconscious will respond by expressing through the personality the tendencies to be just, true, honest, virtuous, kind, sympathetic, sweet-tempered, cheerful, fearless, faithful, persevering, industrious. In brief, everything that goes to make a strong and worthy personality. By a simple system of subconscious training, anyone can build up the strongest and most beautiful character imaginable, and in a reasonable time make it a permanent part of himself. A lack of character is due wholly to the fact that the subconscious has been improperly impressed. Misleading tendencies have been formed, and let it be remembered that nothing can tempt man to go wrong except the perverse tendencies that are expressed from his own subconscious mind. Every weak place in mind or character is caused by a subconscious tendency that is going wrong. Such tendencies may have been inherited, many of them are, but they can all be corrected by daily directing the subconscious to produce the opposite quality. To think with conviction that human nature is weak is to impress upon the subconscious the idea of weakness, and the subconscious will respond by producing a tendency to weakness. Therefore, he who thinks he is weak will cause his nature to continue to be weak. We are weak or strong according to what we direct the subconscious to produce in us. To realize that the great within contains the power to make the personality as strong as we may wish it to be, and to impress upon the subconscious a strong desire for that power, is to direct the subconscious to make us strong, and whatever we direct the subconscious to do, the same will invariably be done. There is no reason whatever why any person should continue to have a weak body, a weak character, or a weak mind. Anything in the being of man can be made strong if the subconscious is properly directed to bring forth the greater life and the greater power. When the great within is awakened, we have the powerful personality, the giant mind, the irresistible character, and the great soul. The natural result is a great life, a life that is too strong to be tempted, too strong to be swayed or disturbed by adversity, too strong to be turned from the path of its lofty goal. Such a life will not only live a life that is life, but will be an endless inspiration to the race, and such a life is waiting in the great within of every soul. Chapter 9. Use of the Conscious and Subconscious. The great within is a source of inspiration, all real music, all permanent art, all poetry of soul, all rich thought, all ideas of genuine worth, all invention, all discovery, all science, and the truth that is absolute. Everything that has worth, be it to a small degree or in a very great degree, comes directly from the richness of the subconscious. Therefore, to do the greater, the mind should enter into the closest touch with the greater within, and should expect the very best that the limitless within can produce. When in need of ideas, plans, methods, ways, and means, call upon the subconscious. The call will not be in vain. The subconscious can supply every need, and will invariably do so when properly directed. While directing the subconscious, however, all conscious action must be in absolute poise. It is not only necessary to impress what we desire, but to impress that desire in such a way that will actually produce an impression. When in the presence of the great fact that the within is limitless, the mind will naturally become enthusiastic. Feeling will run high and is very liable to become overwrought, but such a feeling has no depth. It is simply superficial emotionalism. It will waste any amount of energy, but will never produce a single impression upon the subconscious. To impress the subconscious, the mind must be calm. The entire personality must be in poise, and this feeling of poise must have that great depth that touches the very soul of life itself. Not the slightest trace of emotional enthusiasm must be permitted, nor must feeling run toward the surface at any time. The actions of mind, especially those of feeling, must move toward the great within if the subconscious is to be reached. There must be no anxiety connected with the desire to impress the subconscious, and every form of doubt must be eliminated completely. To properly impress the subconscious, faithful application is necessary, also constant practice, and a perseverance that will not give up, but the prize is worthy of the effort. To realize that the subconscious can and will do anything when properly impressed is to persevere until the proper impression has been made, and it is those who work in this realization that secure the marvelous results. To eliminate the tendency to feel emotional while acting upon the subconscious, cultivate the substantial feeling. Train yourself to feel substantial at all times, and wild, empty, overwrought feelings will entirely disappear. It is the proper feeling that determines the proper impression. The attainment of the deep, substantial feeling is therefore extremely important, though it is equally important to be able to feel the vibrations of the inner forces of the system. It is the finer forces that impress the subconscious, and the subconscious is invariably impressed whenever these forces are felt. To develop the consciousness of the finer forces, attention should be frequently concentrated upon that life that permeates the tangible elements in every part of being, And during this concentration, the feeling of consciousness should be deepened and expanded as much as possible. Every conscious action should be trained to penetrate the very depth of life, and during this process the mind should act in the realization that the more deeply it penetrates any elements in the personality, the finer will be the forces into which consciousness will enter. To awaken or arouse any force or element, attention should be concentrated upon that state in which the desired force or element is known to exist, and the mind should think of the nature of that force or element according to the best possible understanding that can be formed of that nature. The same method may be employed in the development of the subconscious side of any desired faculty or talent. The creative energies of the system always build up those qualities of which the mind may be thinking. Therefore, to actually and continually think of the real nature of a great talent is to develop that talent into the same degree of greatness that is discerned in mind. The power of this method in the development of ability, talent, and genius is practically unlimited, because the mind is capable of discerning higher and higher degrees of greatness, and the subconscious is capable of providing creative energies of as high a state of fineness and power as may be required. To secure the best results from any method through which the great within is to be unfolded and expressed, it is extremely important to use properly the consciousness and the subconscious factors of mind at the various stages of the process. While impressing the subconscious, the conscious mind should be strong, firm, positive, and highly active, but should become perfectly quiet and receptive while expecting a response from the subconscious. Harmony, serenity, and poise are indispensable states both when the impression is being made and when the expression is expected. The right use of the will is an extraordinary importance, and neither time nor effort should be spared in establishing this right use, because where the will is misapplied, the subconscious expressions are interfered with to such an extent that results are completely neutralized. While the subconsciousness is being impressed, the will should act firmly and directly upon that consciousness that is felt in the subconscious. But when the subconsciousness is expected to respond, the will should be relaxed into a state of complete inaction. It is not the purpose of the will to control the outer person by acting directly upon the outer person. The will controls the outer person by causing the subconscious to produce in the outer person whatever may be desired. And when the subconscious begins to express what the will has desired and directed, the will must, for the time being, cease to act. The true function of the will is to act upon the finer states of consciousness, that is, the subconscious states. Those states that are felt in the deeper life of the personality or the mentality, and while in such action, to impress upon the subconscious those causes that can produce the desired effects. When these causes have been impressed, and time has come for the expected results, the will must withdraw so that the personality may become sufficiently receptive to give the subconscious response the fullest and freest possible expression. The subconscious expression will come of itself, at the time designated, if the impression has been properly made. But every attempt of the will to help draw forth that expression will interfere with results. When the desired subconscious expression fails to appear at the time designated, the impression has either not been properly made, or the subconscious response is being prevented by too much active will force, anxiety, or objective commotion. The subconscious cannot express itself or do what it is directed to do unless the outer mentality and personality are in poise. But perfect poise is not possible so long as willpower is applied upon the external side of mind and body. Train the will to act upon the subconscious, and the subconscious only, and this is readily accomplished by always turning yourself and your attention upon the subconscious whenever the will is being employed. When acting upon the objective, the will only interferes with normal functions and can accomplish absolutely nothing. To move a muscle, the will must act upon the subconscious life that permeates that muscle. Should it act upon the muscle itself, the muscle would become rigid, and muscular motion would be impossible. No one can do anything by objectively willing to do it. He can do what he wants to do only by causing the will to act upon the part of the subconscious that can do what he wants to have done. The law is absolute in all human actions, be they physical or metaphysical, intellectual or emotional, mental or spiritual. To train the will to act only upon the subconscious will increase the power of the conscious mind to impress the subconscious. The conscious action will not be divided, acting partly upon the objective and partly upon the subconscious, but will give its power and attention absolutely to the idea that is being subconsciously impressed. When the will acts only upon the subconscious, there will be no will force in the outer mind or body to disturb the normal functions of the system, and when the entire system is normal, the subconscious can readily do whatever it may be directed to do. The conscious mind should employ the will solely for the purpose of impressing and directing the subconscious, but should give the subconscious unrestricted freedom to take full possession of the personality when expressions from within are expected to appear. Those who hesitate to give the subconscious expression full right of way should remember that to move a muscle, the subconscious must take full possession of that muscle, and to think, the subconscious must exercise complete control of the mental faculty, and also that the subconscious will only do what it is directed to do. Though the personality must be controlled completely by the subconscious must be directed in all its actions by the conscious mind. Therefore, the wide-awake self continues to be the master. Chapter 10. Solutions to Problems. The subconsciousness has the power to work out any problem and find the exact answer to any question at the time designated by the conscious mind. In fact, no problem is ever worked out by the conscious mind alone. The subconscious gives the real secret in every instance, though it is the conscious mind that makes it the practical application. To secure the direct and the fullest assistance from the subconscious when there are problems to solve, form a clear, distinct idea of what you wish to know, and impress that idea upon the subconsciousness with a deep, strong desire for the information required. Have perfect faith in the faith that you'll receive the answer, and you will. When you have something special to do at some near future time that requires more power and mental brilliancy than you usually possess, direct the subconscious to give you the added power and intelligence at the exact time. The subconsciousness is exact as to time and will produce, at the time desired, as much power and intelligence as you felt you needed for the special work when the impression was made. To simply impress upon the subconsciousness a desire for more power is not sufficient. The impression must contain a clear idea of how much power is required and what the added power is expected to do. While the subconsciousness is being impressed for more power, the mind must try to discern and feel a life of more power. And the amount of power that is discerned while the impression is being made, the subconsciousness will express at the time fixed for the expression. Whenever an impression is made upon the subconsciousness, the conscious mind should try to gain the very highest and the very largest conception possible of the idea that is being impressed. And the more clearly the conscious mind discerns the largeness, the worth, and the superiority of the idea, the larger, the worthier, and the more superior will be the corresponding expression brought forth from the within. When the conscious mind can see clearly the amount of power and mental brilliancy required for the special future action, and impresses that idea upon the subconscious with the deepest and strongest desire for its realization, the impression thus made will call for the exact amount of power and intelligence required, and whatever the impression calls for the subconscious will supply. The law is this, that the subconscious will respond with the exact quality and the exact quantity that you were conscious of, or that you can mentally discern and feel at the time the impression is being made. It is therefore extremely important to elevate the conscious mind into the largest and most superior states of thought and feeling possible before an effort is made to impress the subconscious. In fact, this is the real secret in directing the subconscious to express a larger quantity and a higher quality than we ever received in tangible life before. To live constantly in the deep, interior feeling of greater power, greater intelligence, greater personal worth, and greater mental brilliancy is to constantly call upon the subconscious to produce these things in larger and larger measure, and the subconsciousness will invariably do whatever it is called upon to do. Though we should not live in the future in the sense that the mind dwells wholly in the thought of the future, nevertheless we should always plan ahead. Place your future plans in the hands of the subconscious. Impress upon the subconscious what you wish to have done tomorrow, next week, next month, or even next year. Then direct the great within to work out of the best plans and best methods possible, and to give your faculties the understanding and the power to carry out those plans to the most successful termination. When there is something upon which you cannot decide, inform the subconscious that a definite decision is desired at such and such a time. Impress clearly and deeply the facts on all sides concerned, and know that the great within can give the desired decision at the time stated. When this time comes, you will receive your answer through the feeling of a strong, irresistible desire to take one particular course, and that alone. While the answer is being expected, no anxiety should be felt, even though the last minute should arrive before anything definite appears. The mind that continues in serenity and faith will receive the right answer before it is too late. But the anxious mind will, through the confusion produced by the anxiety, prevent the subconscious from giving expression to the desired information. When two antagonistic decisions appear at the time fixed, the subconscious expression has not been given full right of way. One of these decisions will be of the conscious mind, who judges according to appearances. The other will be of the subconscious, who judges according to the facts, but in which may seem difficult to discern. The decision of the conscious mind may sometimes be the stronger, but at other times the weaker. One's strongest feelings, therefore, at such time will not prove to be safe guidance. To re-impress the subconsciousness for an immediate and definite decision is the proper course to pursue under such circumstance, and if the conscious mind is kept quiet in faith, the true answer will shortly appear. You will then feel a strong desire to take but one course, and will lose all desire to even think about the other. Because when the subconscious action is given full and free expression, everything that is antagonistic to that expression will cease to exist. It is therefore evident that we may completely eliminate the wrong by directing the subconscious to express the right, and by giving the subconscious absolute freedom to do what it has been directed to do. Chapter 11. Direct Assistance in Everything. The subconscious should be called upon to give direct assistance in everything, even in the most insignificant of everyday affairs. This practice will not only cause all things to be done better and better constantly, but the conscious mind will be more thoroughly trained to impress the subconscious for anything desired, and the subconscious mentality will be perpetually enlarged along those lines. To enlarge the subconscious mentality in every phase of interior action is to awaken a larger measure of the great within, and the more of the within that is awakened, the greater will man become. For these reasons, the subconsciousness should be called upon for superior aid before anything, even the least, is undertaken. Everything that is worth doing should be done better than before, and the subconsciousness can provide the power. Impressions of this nature should be made a few hours in advance, or when possible a few days in advance. Though the subconscious can respond upon a moment's notice, its superior power should therefore be sought upon every occasion. In the commercial world, no one should ever attempt to decide upon important transactions before directing the subconscious to inspire the mind with the highest insight, the keenest judgment, and the broadest understanding, and no great enterprise should be undertaken before directing the subconscious to work out the best possible plan and method. The subconscious can do these things, and when all practical men will go to the greater mind for their plans and ideas, instead of depending upon the limited intelligence of the lesser mind, failures will be reduced to a minimum, while great achievements will steadily increase, both in numbers and in greatness. Those who are engaged in literary work will find the subconscious indispensable, because any idea desired may be gained from the great within. Orators and public speakers should never attempt to prepare or deliver a discourse before going to this great source of ideas for their thought, and the same is true of musical composers, creative artists, inventors, and all others who require ideas that have originality and worth. Every person who is engaged in study or in any line of improvement may increase results from 10 to 200% by securing the direct assistance of the subconscious. And as all advancement and promotion in life comes directly from the improvement of self, the fact that the subconscious can supply any amount of ability, capacity, and power becomes extremely important. All memory is subconscious, therefore. Whatever one desires to remember should be deeply impressed upon the subconscious at the time the fact or idea is received, and the subconsciousness may be directed to bring back to mind those facts and ideas whenever their recollection is desired. Through this simple process, memory can be developed and cultivated to a remarkable degree, and the power to recall anything at any time will become practically perfect. The subconsciousness can be trained to keep the conscious mind clear and active, and all sluggishness or obtrusiveness can be completely eliminated from every faculty. This will enable the student to learn with far greater rapidity, and every mental effort will be conducive to growth. To produce these results, the subconscious should, several times a day, be directed to express continuous clearness, mental lucidity, and a high, well-poised mental activity. While producing that impression, picture in the conscious mind the same clearness and action that you desire the subconscious to express. To picture perfect lucidity and to feel high activity in the conscious mind for a few moments while the subconsciousness is being impressed will cause the subconsciousness to express that same clearness and activity for several hours. And when the impression contains a deep desire for great clearness and activity than the conscious mind can discern, the greater clearness and activity will be expressed. It is a well-known fact that nearly all great minds, and also most minds that are trying to develop greatness, have moods when they can do most excellent work, but when they are not in those moods, little or nothing of worth can be accomplished. To such minds, the ability to create the right moods or mental states, whenever desired, would be an exceptional value, and by properly directing the subconscious, it may readily be accomplished. Form in the conscious mind a very clear idea of the mood or mental state in which you can do your best work, and impress that idea upon the subconsciousness with a strong desire for the continuous realization of the desired state. Repeat the impression several times every day, and every evening before going to sleep. Perseverance will produce the most remarkable results. While engaged in any particular study, impress frequently upon the subconsciousness the real nature of that study, and direct the subconsciousness to express all the essentials that may be necessary to thoroughly understand and master that study. Expect superior intelligence from within, and make the best possible use of that intelligence as it is being received. Thus the conscious mind and the subconscious will work together for the promotion of the highest conceivable attainment. To promote advancement in one's vocation, better plans and methods will constantly be in demand, and by directing the subconscious to work them out, these may be secured as required. In addition, the necessary power and ability to practically apply those methods may also be secured if the subconsciousness is called upon to supply them. It is the truth that whatever the subconsciousness is properly impressed and directed to do, it positively will do. End of chapter.